organizer, portions of this meeting may be recorded.
Welcome to our project website. This presentation is intended to give you a short overview of the project. The Pella project is sponsored by a group of local community residents listed here. This has formed a nonprofit organization called Fields for Our Future and has been working on this since around 2005. The mission statement for this group is to create a recreational complex that strengthens and unites our youth, families, and community by providing an exciting, safe, and high-quality sports park. This image represents the long-term vision of the Pella Sports Park. This image includes both the current phase as well as future phases, and we will go into more detail on each of those later in the presentation. The question we want to address is why a Pella Sports Park? Throughout the year, 4 community-centered themes have come to the top and have been developed into top priorities for the sports park concept. These are briefly explained below as the 4 pillars of progress. These include places for youth to play, community involvement, safety and accessibility, and economic vitality. Pause the presentation if you would like to read the detail below, but we'll be covering each of these in the next few slides. Pillar is place for youth to play. As you can see in the left-hand graph, over a decade or so, participation in both Little League and the 6 and Under program has grown substantially, and even the number of fields available has stayed the same. In this, a lot of the fields have poor drainage, or there is a lack of lighted fields. The combination of large growth and low availability leads to a poor experience, including in scheduling practice times, having to be scheduled in other towns in certain circumstances, including Layton, and a large number of rescheduled games or cancellations. A number of times there will be a rainstorm in the region, and Pella will have to cancel a lot of their games, while Knoxville and Oskaloosa can still hold their games due to the quality of the fields that they have. So both the quality of fields creates a poor experience for both participants and their fans. Places for youth to play is the lack of centralization. As you can see the map on the left-hand side, a lot of the fields, in this case for Little League, are spread throughout the community. And not centralized causes each of them to lack common features that you would see at centralized sports park. It includes bathroom facilities, playground facilities, concession stands, bleachers, batting cages, and even dedicated parking, which helps to eliminate some safety concerns. So the centralization affects facilities and therefore the experience. The second pillar, which is community involvement. Again, if you have multiple sports at the same location, it really fosters interaction both during and between games, and it becomes a destination in the community. Attend around for more than just their game to interact with friends. It's still within easy reach of all residential areas, and location here later in the presentation. The community survey in 2000, which was 12 years ago, indicated that a sports park was a key need in Pella, and that still hasn't been addressed. We think this project addresses that need. So we think this is a project that greatly improves our long-term social capital within the community. Another one is the comprehensive plan, which is sponsored by the city, and identified the need for community parks. And not just any community park, but if you read on the right-hand side, it indicates that Pella should avoid future development of mini parks and focus on the development of one large community park in the neighborhood of 65 acres or more. Additionally, our community that will benefit from the Pella Sports Park is tremendous. This is not just a small section of the community. In 2010, over 600 kids participated in Little League or youth baseball and softball programs, another 190 in football-related programs, and another 710 in recreational and club soccer. This is a total of over 1,500 participants, and it includes family and friends. This includes a very large segment of our community. So parents and families would like to have a central, safe, and enjoyable location to play, and we believe this project can deliver that and impact thousands of people. The third pillar is accessibility, and this gets a dedicated play area for the siblings of the youth that are playing in the games in such a way that parents can watch both the children playing as well as the children participating. And often there's open areas and fields near roads, and if you're familiar with P Street as an example, it's a dangerous area with children that can easily end up going between parked cars and darting out in the road. And so not only is the roadside parking inconvenient for the parents, but it also creates a safety hazard. And so we think that safety improvements are not something to be overlooked. And so this is one of the important pillars that we identified. The last identified is economic vitality. And this gets to the impact to the economy of having a centralized sports park. And the Chamber indicated that be able to hold more and larger and greater quality tournaments can bring significant dollars to the community to support our local businesses. And other communities have had good economic stimulus by having a centralized park built. Altoona is an example. In that case, the land surrounding the sports park was developed for housing, residential housing, and commercial development. Ada is another example, and there's a lot of articles out there that indicate that a centralized park such as the one being proposed here does have a good economic lift for the community. As in that, we've actually had two Keystone contributors step forward and not only recognize the broader benefits of the project that we're speaking to here, but in particular the economic impacts. And so Pella Rollscreen Foundation and the Kuiper Foundation, as well as the Vermeer Charitable Foundation, have stepped forward with significant contributions to support this Pella Sports Park. And we greatly appreciate that, and we will get into those details here in the next slide. But here, based on the quote from Pella Corporation's head of recruiting, this complex will have a positive impact on influencing a person or family's decision to relocate to Pella. Not only is there an economic impact with just bringing people here for tournaments, but when you do bring prospective employees in and are looking to hire them, they do guided or self-guided tours of the community. And a complex like the sports park, along with schools and other things, can be a major factor that they consider when they look at whether they want to be employed in this community. In looking at the Pella Sports Park specifications, we benchmarking of local and regional facilities. Two of them that are the closest that are similar to what are being proposed here are Grinnell and Oskaloosa, and they have some fairly up-to-date recent facilities that are very nice. And they've recognized the same benefits that we've been talking about. But we have a lot of other facilities, both in towns that are smaller and larger than Pella. And you can see a table of some of the numbers that we gathered, both in terms of the number of acres of the centralized park, the Little League and soccer participants, the population of the community, and then some demographics like average household income, average home value. And we did a comparison with what we're proposing with what these communities currently offer. And our proposed 7 baseball fields and 5 multi-purpose fields, along with 105 acres, seems very appropriate given our level of participation, our population, and some of the demographics in our community. So we feel that this project is well within local and regional benchmarks. The sports park is on the east side of town, near the end of Oskaloosa Street, past Pella Christian High School. Get closer in, you can see that we're proposing a purchase of 105 acres, and that the access to this 105 acres would be from Oskaloosa Street. The would develop part of this 105 acres, and future projects would fundraise for filling in the rest of the acreage as there is a need. In the long university run on the north side of this property, giving us access to the park from both directions. Itself, again, this is a long-term vision, and this is broken into 2 phases. The phase is outlined here in yellow, and we would buy all of the land that was identified in the prior slide, which is 105 acres. That'd be part of phase 1. But the development of that land would only happen inside the yellow area here for phase 1. So for phase 1 fundraising, we are looking to build 6 Little League fields, 1 Babe Ruth field, 5 multi-purpose fields for soccer and football, 1 main concession stand, some batting cages, playground and picnic areas, and centralized parking, as well as a small endowment for future small upgrades or a little bit of game day maintenance, although the city will be doing the general maintenance for the facility. These two, which would be separate fundraising in the future, we did all for growth as the community had future needs, and we did not want to landlock phase 1 such that future needs would have to be located elsewhere. So there's a placeholder here for future growth. You can see in the diagram there are baseball diamonds and multi-purpose fields filled in here, but there are other sports that could be considered in the long-term planning, and we've talked about some of those, and that allows room for those to happen if the community sees the need. In terms of timing, we did a lot of benchmarking and cost assumptions to make sure that we understood what the true cost of what we're proposing is, and then we fundraise accordingly. And you can see here we looked at the Oskaloosa facility and spoke with Iowa Athletic Field Construction in terms of the cost and quality of the baseball fields and multi-purpose fields. We looked at the concessions and restrooms and have specified a scaled-down version of Oskaloosa's structure, which will still be a very nice structure, as well as parking, most paved parking, but a little bit of overflow for non-paved parking, access sidewalk areas, other infrastructure, architectural fees, and then the ongoing maintenance. A lot of research went into understanding the true costs of what we're proposing. And so what you see on this slide is the fundraising plan. At the target commitment column, you can see the project is $8.5 million in total. We've been fortunate to have a major Keystone contributor step forward and commit money up front. And that's been the Pella with $2.5 million through local option sales tax funds, the Pella Rollscreen Foundation and Kuiper Foundations with $2 million, and Vermeer Foundation with $1.5 million. And if you add $200,000 from other businesses that have given money up front, that gives a base of $6.2 million. What we're starting now in May of 2012 is to launch the general fundraising and grants program to get that general fundraising total up to $2.5 million. And if we will reach this $8.5 million vision for phase 1. The project includes closing and purchasing on the land in August of 2012. We are doing the general fundraising campaign right now, and that will continue for about 18 months, but people can commit to donations over a 5-year period. We will be finalizing the specifications and doing contractor selection in the fall, and we will begin construction in the fall and spring of 2000. And we look into the ball in the 2014 to 2015 timeframe. So what for us? Well, we'd love for you to join the team and show you support in a number of ways. You can see them listed here, from spreading the word to donating to volunteering. Or if you have questions, you can either contact a board member or email us at pellasportspark@mail.com. And you can add a lot of information is available on the website. For you to join the team, that's the short presentation. Feel free to contact us again if you have any other questions. And thank you for listening.